It's a great day. My name is Shay Brown, the happy entrepreneur, and welcome, to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the number one business development and revenue focused late night show in the country where we are on a mission. And I'm going to tell you, our mission really is to inspire you. Our mission really is to empower you, the entrepreneur, the one that gets up every single day to make a difference in the world with all of the resources that you need that are necessary to execute, that big vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And on this episode, we have the one and only Kenyatta Powers-Rucker, who's here. What's up, Kenyatta? How are you?
Hi, I am well. I am well. Thank you, Shay, for having me.
Well, I'm excited. Thanks for being here, by the way. The question comes up, and they can read your bio below. They'll see how famous you are. But it's saying own your success. And success means different things to different people. So let's just start off with, what is your definition of success? What does it look like for you? And why is it important for this particular conversation?
Own your success. So, as you stated, success can definitely mean different things to different people. But for me, success is really enjoying and doing the thing that you love to do. If you could get up every morning and do what you love to do, is deemed successful. So sometimes we're able to have that job, that particular position, that particular entrepreneurship that you just love to do. There's nothing like getting up and realizing that you are doing what you have been called to do.
Now, let me ask you a question. How do folks know when they're doing something they were called to do, and does it change over time? I'm just curious.
Absolutely, it can change over time. So I define it for me as there are positions that you have, and I don't care what it is. Some days you don't always have a great day all the time. Everything is not peaches and cream all the time. But when you are happy about what you're doing, when you have really been able to help other people in what you're doing, then what you have defined as passion, what you are passionate about, what you have done, or God has called you to do in order to do your day-to-day work. So you get up and you're okay about going to work. You're okay going to the office, and you feel like you have done what you needed to do for that day. You have not necessarily even checked off all of your boxes, but how you happy in the job that you're doing.
It seems like common sense, but common sense is not always so common, right? So
Amen.
I'm curious, what's holding people back today from just being successful? I mean, it sounds like they just need to do what they love to do, and the world continues to go around and round. But I know there's a challenge out there. There's a reason why you exist. So I guess the question is, what's some of the challenges that holds people back today from really stepping into the success they know they were born to do?
So probably one of the biggest one had been for me was self-doubt. Really doubting yourself that if you can do what you wanted to do, are you prepared? Are you educated enough? Have you taken enough classes? Can you really be the person that you wanted to be? Having that self-doubt. The other piece to me was getting discouraged when things don't go your way. You have a big horrific thing that happens in your life, whether it's a death in the family, whether it's losing a job, whether it's losing a spouse, whatever the case may be. Sometimes we face those horrific things in life, and it seems to just hold us back. We can't seem to get out of that rut. We get discouraged and thinking that we can't go on, or that there's so many different obstacles in the way of going on. So one thing I have just learned is that I know it's one of those little cliche things to say, but everything happens for a reason. So there are things that happen in our lives that we don't understand it at that given time. But then later you look back in life and you can see that if this hadn't have happened, where would I have been? If this hadn't have happened, I might have been delayed in where I really needed to be. And that is definitely a part of my story.
Well, we'll get to your story in a moment, but I'm curious, how do you deal with fear? There may be someone listening right now and they're like, okay, I'm have a job, or they're an entrepreneur, but their passion is something else. And they're like, if I go over here, this doesn't work out, I'm in trouble. I'm not sure if I should leave this. and or maybe they're just fearful, as you said, they don't have what it takes. My question is, before we get to know about you, is how do you deal with fear? What do you say to the person that's watching right now? Is like, to take this leap is pretty huge right now, and maybe I'm too old or I'm too young, and they're just a little
Mm,
fearful.
mm.
What would be your words to that person watching now?
Is to take it in steps. It's not all the time of where you have to just jump and dive right into certain things. And that may work for some people. But sometimes you may need to take a step here and a step there and take those baby steps to make you think and make you feel like, you're going in the right direction. So sometimes, we can just jump in with both feet, and then that really really intimidates us. But then you also have some that's what they need to do, is jump in with both feet. But there are times where if you just take that little step, if you're looking for a different position and this is the passion that you have and you really, really want to go into that direction, then start in baby steps in that direction. If you are in one position and you want to be an entrepreneur and selling t-shirts, right? So start looking into, what does it take to sell t-shirts? So do I need to get my little steamer? What do I need to start in that area? You don't have to jump all in at one time, but do your steps to figure out what does it take to do that. And you can work on that, because that's exactly what we've been doing, is working on that as you are still in the position that you're in. So sometimes it just may take just little baby steps to get to where you really want to be.
I mean, that sounds perfect. And now the folks will want to know, who is Kenyatta Powell-Rucker? Like who are you? You're saying just go do this. Like for you, maybe it was just easy. Maybe there was some silver spoon. Maybe there was unicorns and rainbows and cupcakes, and you just went walking down the trail. So can we slow down for a moment, and then we'll speed back up? Tell me a little about, who is Kenyatta? What has this journey been like for you? And then more importantly, why are you so passionate about this?
Well, how has this journey been for me? So I would say when I first started off, let's just start to say I am in the technology field. I have been in technology for over 25 years. And being in the technology field, which is a male dominated field, it was definitely a struggle. But before that, I even got to the technology field, I was in a position that wasn't for me. And so when I got I actually got laid off from this position, and which I felt like was the most horrific thing in my life that could ever happen. I'm a single mom, just bought a new house, new car. The worst thing that could possibly happen to me is to get laid off from a position. And when I find that getting laid off from that position was the best thing that ever happened to me. So getting laid off, it made me go into the route that was made for me, which is in leadership and technology. So and it was, when I say it sounds like it might have been that easy, but after months and months of looking for a job, of having a young son at home, wondering how you're going to pay the bills, wondering how you're going to prepare for your son, and not having a job for almost a year, it was a horrific feeling for me. And I'm thinking, why me? Why now? Why can't I? But then I wind up going back to my roots, finding the world of technology and landing a position in a very junior position in the technology field, and really finding that that was what was made for me. So going back to my roots is really what I'm going to say set that path for me. That was something I had always wanted to do. And I getting laid off from a position that I probably had no business being at to begin with. And I was able to go back to my roots, feeling at a point where I'm very discouraged in my life about what's going on. But that level of discouragement really, really boosted me into needing and finding the position that was for me. So moving into this IT field, I started as glorified desktop specialist for the most part, and I was updating PCs around the state for Y2K. That's how long ago that's been. We all know Y2K. We thought the world was coming to an end, and so from there, I worked myself up from a desktop specialist to a supervisor, to an assistant director, to a director, to a deputy chief information officer, to being the first African American female Chief Information Officer for the Maryland Department of Human Services. So, being in the IT field now for 25 years, it has been a blessing. And as I stated earlier, it adds a struggle. It's a male dominated field, but it was something that I love doing. It was something when I first started this position, I started with a notepad in my hand and just running around trying to learn all that I could learn, being the sponge that I was, and everything that I was taking in. I was volunteering on different projects because that was my passion. That's what I like to do. But that it also elevated me from position to position to position to be the CIO for the Maryland Department of Human Services.
And when people hear that, they've got to be thinking, what an incredible journey, what an incredible story. But they got to think, wait a minute, an IT person? Normally they're behind some steel door, right? And they're pushing out papers underneath a little thing at the bottom, right? They don't get out and talk like you are. They're not in the public speaking. At least that's not, I guess, the stereotype. I will say that. And you're a female. Then you're Black, brown woman on the other side. I guess my question is, when did you develop the skill set, not only to be able to be behind the scenes, because IT is normally the quietest folks around, but you're also on stages. You're also changing lives. And you're saying, own your success. You're not saying, well, go off and be an IT person. You're like, no. Success is more than how much money you make. So here's the question. How did you find that bridge? Was that a talent you had? Did you just be able to jump off and be on the other side and be in speaking and changing lives? Or was that a skill set you had to learn? Tell us a little bit about that journey and that transition. Because the reason I want that is there might be some folks listening like, whoa, I can do two things at one time. Like, Shay, I can have it all. No, I'm seeing and hearing her. I can have it all, and I can have all the success I want. So that's the question. Transition from IT person, to public speaker, to changing lives, to coaching. Seems like an oxymoron to me, but hey, who am I?
So, moving up into the technology field was also moving in a leadership position. So the more I moved up, the more in leadership I became. And then yes, we had leadership classes and all that we had to take, and we made sure that we had certain protocols and stuff as leadership. And especially as I moved into executive leadership, it became a different ballgame. But where it really came into light for me is I have this when you started realizing the numbers of the amount of females that's in the technology field. And growing through my career, there was, especially when I first started, there was no one that looked like me. And so as I started growing and further in my career and seeing that we were coming along a little more and a little more, I wanted to do what I could do to try to encourage other young ladies in technology and our youth in technology about getting technology careers and also escalating in leadership. I took it upon myself at that time, yes, and still being CIO and still as advocating for the Maryland Department of Human Services, of being a lady in tech, of encouraging other women. I wanted other women to see, as an African American female woman, yes, we are in leadership, we are out there. And I wanted them to see, yes, you can, as well as I've done it, you can do it too. And so, yes, and I get asked the question all the time: how, who, what, when, and where. And I go through all of the different steps, and all of what I had taken, of course, is different than what it was taken now for 25 years ago. But we are working together in these different conferences and talking to different classes, talking to the kids, talking to all different areas of life that are looking into getting into IT. We have those that are in IT that's looking for leadership, and we have those that are already in leadership to making sure that how can I make sure that I still excel myself as well as my team.
So what do you say to the woman that's listening right now, that's watching? She's there. She's on the edge right now. She says, I'm an IT, by the way. I am the one. I'm the next. I'm right here. She's watching you. She's following and saying, hey, if she could give me 3 steps, Shay, just 3 things that I can do. Maybe you're not in IT. I'm telling you, if you're watching, you're going to still benefit from this. But what are 3 things that I can do to help move my career so I can get a shot at management, so I can get a shot at leadership, and that one day I can be in charge, not so much about being in charge, but I can use my expertise to run the organization. And they're sitting there and they're hungry right now and they're watching you. They're like, Shay, what are 3 things I can do? I'm writing them down. I'm ready. what do you say to that woman? Could be a good guy, but that woman is on the other side right now that's watching, saying, I'm next. I'm the one.
I'd have to say you to excel in any career, in my opinion. It's not, and think about it, it's not even just in IT. And I stated earlier about being passionate about what you do. It shows in the work that you do. It shows and allows others leadership to show to see your passion. I would say that that would to me is probably, and that's probably one of the biggest questions that I ask my clients. Do you enjoy the work that you do? Are you okay with getting up in the morning and coming to the position that you like coming to every morning? That's one of the major questions. That's one of the first questions that I ask. Because if you're not enjoying what you're doing, are we just doing it for the money in some cases, I understand people have to do what they have to do to survive. But if you really, really, really want this for yourself, are you passionate about where you are and what you're doing? Or do you really want to go in this level? I also suggest of finding someone, a mentor, a sponsor that can actually, that's in the position or have been in the position that can help mentor and coach you along the way. I just wish I had a mentor when I was growing in my career. Someone that I can ask questions to, someone that I can just kind of feed off of, someone that can give me some level of advice, someone that who has been there and can really kind of show me different steps of what I could take in moving in the right direction.
I
So
love it. So, oh, go. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, that was good.
No. I was going to ask. You mentioned mentors, and one of the questions
Yeah.
I ask almost every night on these calls, because I believe that success is a team sport. You can only get so far by yourself. So one of my favorite questions I ask. Now, for those folks that tune in every night, you know what I'm about to do. You can lean in, and for those new folks, you get to learn from a mentor that Kenyatta's had, a lesson that she learned from them that you can walk away with. So you lean forward because you may never meet her mentor. And I'm sure she had many along this journey of life. But I'm going to ask her what's one mentor she's had and one lesson she learned from that mentor that she can pass on to you that'll make your life better, help you do more, be more, have more, serve more. So, Kenyatta, you heard the question. What's one of the mentors you had? And how can someone take away one of the lessons?
So dealing with people, I wouldn't even at that point have classified him as a mentor. But as I think about the things that we talked about, as I think about it, especially back then, I didn't even realize the term mentor. But the biggest thing that I realized from him was don't hold yourself back. Be positioned and be ready. So you have to say, be ready so you don't have to get ready. This is an understanding of where you want to go, understanding where your organization is going, understanding if you're wanting a certain position, what does it take in order to learn that position? Is it what type of degree you might need? Is some type of certification you might need? Don't stay stagnant. You have to be willing to learn. You have to be open. You have to be able to adapt. You have to be flexible. There's certain things you can imagine how many times I've heard, that's not my job. If you have that mindset of that's not my job, then moving on in leadership is just not for you. Because it's just one of those things. Of course, we're working to a point, and this is where mentors come into play as well. You're working to a point where, of course, you're not trying to be used and you're not trying to be overworked and just doing so much and not getting the credit for it and things of that nature. I get that. I truly understand that. But there are times where you get noticed when there are different projects you're volunteering for. You get noticed when there's things of learning. And that was another one of my positions of getting a skill set. I saw an organization was going in a different way. And I'm like, look, if I want to go where they're going, I need to be able to have that skill set. No one had to tell me to go get it. I saw what was happening. I saw the writing on the table, so I went and got it myself. And it was like, okay, so she got a certification. She's ready to go. Let's go with that. And that was one of the reasons. And most of the positions that I received, it wasn't that I went and started seeking and applying. Most of these positions, they came to me and asked me for these positions. But I wanted to embed myself into situations where I wanted to expand. And it was obvious in the work that I did that I wanted to elevate. And I will say too, each one of the positions that I was in really helped me get to the next position. There was no way I'd have been able to start as a desktop specialist and being able to be CIO. And me being able to transform from one position to the next, to the next, to the next. And number one, it allowed me to understand the work that was being done. And so now my staff come to me with certain things. I've been there, I've done that. I understand what you're going through. I have been there. So I understanding those are stepping stones. So when don't despise small beginnings, those small beginnings can definitely help you to get to the position in which you desire.
I love it. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for being so transparent. We have a segment here at the Happy Entrepreneur Show called Today is My January 1st. Now, I know for some of you, you're here every night. Welcome. You're like family. And so you can go and say those magic words. Today is my January 1st. Doesn't that feel good? Happy New Year to you. For those folks that are new to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, I'm going to encourage you to go over to YouTube. Make sure you connect with us. You can type in @IamCheBrown. You can go over there. And number 2, download the podcast, The Happy Entrepreneur Show. But today is our January 1st is a personal mantra at The Happy Entrepreneur Show. It stands for really a fresh start. It stands for a do-over. It means our past, no matter what the past is, it no longer equals the future. So my question to Kenyatta Powers-Rucker is on the other side is that when you hear those words, today is my January 1st, well, what do you hear? And what was one of your defining January 1st moments?
My January 1st, I will say, my January 1st was realizing that I had the ability to influence and to help and encourage others, and others saw me as that light to be able to help them. Being in the IT field and being a woman in this field and seeing that so many others are coming to me asking questions and so forth, but me realizing, I've been in IT for years, but really realizing that I could be that one to really help others. So I'm seeing that level of servitude, because it does my heart joy to be able to help and encourage others and provide that path and provide that guidance and what they may need to learn so they can reach their highest capabilities, so that they can get to where they want to be, and realizing they can do it. They're not in this by themselves. It's a world of women in IT, and we are increasing more and more. So when I'm first hitting me, that I have that level of influence, that people are looking at me and people are seeing that they want to be in a similar position and wanting to know how to get in that position, and looking at the stats of women in a technology career. Yeah, we need more women out there to be able to encourage and support and mentor and sponsor other young ladies in tech. So that I felt that was my my wahoo moment of realizing, yes, this is one of those reasons of why you're here.
Said so well. What do you do for fun when you're not out saving the world?
Saving the world.
Well, that's what you're doing. I just said own your success. So you're helping us get our success. I don't know how much bigger there is to save us. I mean, it's what we were born to do. It's what we're destined to do. And we finally have fulfillment. We finally have happiness. So yeah, you're saving the world.
Yeah, I love the way that's put. What am I doing? I enjoy family. My family is all over the United States. And so being able to spend some time with them, between my parents, my sisters, my brothers, my cousins, we're very close family, although we're kind of far apart. So traveling, I love to travel, and we're traveling to be able to see each other. And we do all these family outings, these family cruises, these family vacations for all of us that's all over the United States. So I would say right now, that's probably my biggest thing that I have on my list for the rest of the year outside of business.
We want to know. Thanks for sharing. 2 questions as we close out. Number 1, are you taking on any new clients these days? If so, what type of clients are you looking for? And number 2, how can folks best connect with you over and beyond this conversation that we're having in this moment?
Definitely, taking new clients. I more so if you think about young ladies in tech. However, I have a couple of men clients as well, and not only in leadership and understanding the path of getting to a chief or C-suite position in technology, but it's a C-suite position, period. So we're looking for that the space is kind of open. So I'm open in the way of STEM, and that's science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, as well as more of a focus on technology and leadership. So if you're looking for ways to advance, if you're in a position, you're trying to figure out how to get to the next position. You're looking to seek in a leadership position. Absolutely, absolutely. I would love to be able to help you with that. And I can be reached. My website is KenyattaPowersRucker.com, as well as all social media under Kenyatta Powers-Rucker.
Fantastic. Well, let me say thank you so much for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. We appreciate it. Can't wait to have you back again.
Thank you. Thank you. It has been a joy to be here with you tonight.
Sure. And thank you. Thank you, the viewers. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here. I like to say that every night because without you, there's no show. So we appreciate you forwarding this out to your list, sharing this with someone you know that wants to be empowered and inspired with everyday folks who are just like Kenyatta, real folks, real problems, doing real things in this real world, if I can say it like that. Because I like to say every night, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I never grow tired of saying it, and just reminding you that how amazing you really are, how incredible you truly are, how you have so much greatness inside you, and that for you, today, in fact, is your January 1st. And because of just that one reason alone, you can hold the belief that your best is still yet to come. Your best is yet to come. Your best is still yet to come. With that being said, my name is still Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. And I promise you we'll make some good things happen. We connect again next time. Remember, time is long. Life is, well, it's very, very short. So you got to live in that moment and you got to make it count. God bless, and we wish you success. Thanks a lot. So long, Kenyatta. We'll see you later. Peace, everybody.